Hey guys, how's it going? Hope you guys are doing better than I am, better than we are. We were walking yesterday on the beach, on our favourite spot on the beach where our dog used to play. So we were sort of walking and remembering her and talking about her and everything. And we saw this dog. We'd actually seen this dog earlier, like on its way to the beach near our street. And we were kind of joking that it looked like Scooby Doo. I guess Scooby Doo's meant to be a Doberman. He's meant to be a Great Dane or something weird, isn't he? I don't know what he is, but whatever he is, it doesn't really make sense. But um, this dog wasn't as big as that. It wasn't a Doberman or a Great Dane. It was a big dog. It wasn't small. It was a little bit smaller than a Doberman, I would say. It was kind of like a small Doberman, one of those roughly that kind of dog, but not really. And it was an intact male, and we saw it on its way to the beach, and it looked really excited and happy. And we've become a bit like, whenever we see anyone with a dog, we go over and we try and pet the dog, and we're a bit like, we're a bit of a sort of open wound at the moment, because of our dog's death. And anyway, we saw this dog. We didn't actually approach this dog at all, though, funnily enough. Just before, we'd seen this woman with an Akita, and we saw the Akita, and we were like, oh, I'd really like to pet that Akita or say hello to it. And we thought, well, maybe we'll make a bit of a beeline that way and see if we can or whatever, which we're not going to do anymore after this incident anyway. But we considered it, and then I think the woman was a bit weirded out by us, so she went off and went the other way, and we were like, well, we're not going to literally stalk this woman so we can look at her dog. So anyway, we went off the other way. We're walking down the shoreline, and basically the sea is to our right, and the beach is to our left. The man, the owner of this dog, the Scooby-Doo dog, is in front of us. It's sort of messing around in the water or something. I don't know what he was doing. He was down, but where the water was. And then up ahead of us, to our left, there's like a kind of mound, like a sandy mound with a couple of palm trees. And the dog is in there playing. And he was like chewing a branch or something, or chewing some sticks and really messing around. Look, he's been really naughty, and we thought, oh, it's funny, he's been really crazy. He's having a really fun time or whatever. And it wasn't the kind of breed you'd expect to be super aggressive. Anyway, we were walking along, and my girlfriend was kind of like giggling at the dog and stuff, as she often does. She really loves dogs. We both do. And she was laughing at him a lot, and sort of like, we were just thinking, oh, bless him, he's having fun. And as we approached, we weren't even very close. Like, we were about 10 meters away from the dog. And we think now, my girlfriend was sort of replaying it in her mind, and she thinks this is what happened, and it probably is that the owner turned around. So he's over here. So there's between each of us, there's kind of like 10 meters. He's over there by the sea. The dog's over here on this mound playing around. And then between the two of them, there's about 10 meters as well. So we're in this kind of triangle. He turns around and shouts at the dog something, like calls it over or tells it to stop playing or whatever. And we think maybe the dog interpreted that as the man shouting at us. I don't know. I'm not sure. I think this is what happened, but that's what my girlfriend thinks, is that the dog felt that the man was shouting at us and that we were therefore a threat because we were walking roughly in their direction. And we weren't even going towards them. We weren't even, we were literally just like walking down the beach. And the dog suddenly ran over to us. And at first I was like, whoa, he's very exuberant. Like when a dog runs over, and I thought he's going to start jumping up at us and it's going to be a little bit annoying and a bit much. And I was kind of like, whoa, not quite ready for the dog to be like jumping up at me and like trying to play with us. He's quite big for that. And he ran over to us. And then it was all happening very quickly. As he's getting closer, we were like, suddenly you could just feel his energy. No, he's not playing. Suddenly he felt like he was aggressive, and then he got up to us and he started barking really aggressively. And we were like, whoa. And at first you're kind of just shouting, like kind of to everyone involved, to the dog, to the owner. We're like, whoa, what's going on? And we're sort of like backing up a bit. And, the way like it happens sometimes with dogs, sometimes dogs just get like that. They start barking at you, and that's pretty common. Like it doesn't normally escalate beyond that. So if you've been around a lot of dogs, you've probably been in that situation before where a dog suddenly starts barking at you or being aggressive, and you kind of go, whoa, and then the owner gets it and the situation ends, right? So this happened. And then the owner kind of stayed. But by this point, he'd gone up to the mound. The dog had come over to us. He'd gone up to where the dog was, I guess, to see what it was chewing or something. And he kind of like stayed there and ignored it. And we're looking at him like, whoa, what's going on with your dog? And we're shouting like, no. And the dog backed up for a sec. And there's this moment where clearly, like, what is supposed to happen is the owner is supposed to get the dog. Like, just without question, nobody needs to be told to do that. And before we can even really, like get around to saying that, the dog, having retreated a bit, suddenly gets the confidence to come at us again. And this time it really goes for my girlfriend. I don't know why. Like, it just went specifically right for her. And I didn't know it actually bit her at this point. I thought, again, in dogs, like, because when our dog would get into fights with other dogs, they do a lot of posturing. They do a lot of these, like, sort of like, they kind of bite near you or they snarl at you, and they normally, like, most dogs are quite afraid to bite. Like, they don't really actually do it much in reality. I mean, it happens, obviously, but, like, normally there's a lot of posturing before they get to that point. So I kind of thought the dog was, and it was clearly a very serious situation. Like, the dog was really going for it and stuff. But, again, we started going, no, and started shouting at it. And, like, stomping our feet near it and, like, trying to sort of get at it to, like, scare it away. And again, it kind of retreated a bit. The bloke still didn't get the dog. He still didn't grab it. This is a grown man. It's not even like a small man or like a very weak looking man, or it's a guy who, he looked like the kind of guy who liked to imagine himself as a bit tough. Not really tough, but like, it's a bit of a grubby looking bloke, like he wasn't a bloke who you would... There are some blokes who are fully checked out of, like, being a male and are like, I am literally like a bitch and I can't do anything and I'm like a girl and, like, and that's what it is, but he wasn't like that. He was a fully grown man. And again, he didn't get the dog after it retreated a second time from us shouting at it. And, like, at this point, we're like, what the fuck is going on here? And the dog was coming for us again. And he was, like, saying something to us, like, trying to tell us, like, sort of like, oh, whatever, it's nothing, don't worry. But he's not doing anything. He's not doing anything. It's like, mate, he fucking is. Like, just get the dog. Just get the fucking dog. Like, just get the fucking dog and put it on a lead. Done. Full stop. Nothing else to it. There is literally nothing else to be said or discussed. Just fucking get your fucking dog, you prick. And yeah, it retreated again. And then it came for us a third time. And this is the point where, because neither of us are used to dealing with this. When we had our dog, especially after she got an injury, she had a spinal injury, we were always really worried. And we had a couple of incidents with dogs, with scary dogs with her. We became very worried and very protective of her around dogs. We never worried about ourselves. And once she died, it was almost a relief, because it was like, we don't have to worry about dogs anymore. Like, her death wasn't a relief, but as in that aspect of it, like, because we were always so watchful and so protective of her. So when other dogs would be around, and like potentially dangerous dogs and stuff, we'd always be like, right, get the dog. I'll stand this side, you stand that side, keep an eye on her, don't let, put her on a lead or whatever. And it was quite stressful sometimes. And there's a lot of shitty dogs around, if you've got a dog, there's always these pricks that can't control their dogs. And they've got these horrible dogs that misbehave. And so we sort of felt, oh, we don't really have to think about that ever again, well, eventually we'll get another dog probably, but we just thought, we don't have to think about that now. We can just walk around and not think about it and not worry about, dog fights and stuff. And so yeah, we're not used to, it's just not something you expect. So the norm is like, if a dog is a bit of a dick, you shout it and you go, whoa, and the owner gets it. And you're not really prepared to do more than that. Like, for example, if you're out in the middle of nowhere and the owner's not around and a really aggressive dog comes at you, if you're out, like, and you're walking out in the countryside or near farms or something, I've had a couple of times situations like this, and a dog comes at you and the owner's not there, you contemplate quite quickly, okay, I might have to get violent with this dog. Like, I might have to have a fight with this dog. Something really, really horrifying might happen right now. But in this situation yesterday, we just weren't really in that mindset, because, like, the owner's right there. So you're not thinking, okay, how do I kill the dog to stop it attacking us? You're just thinking, like, shout at it and make it stop. So I feel kind of bad. Like, I didn't really, like, I just was kind of stomping my feet and going, no. And, like, I didn't want to escalate it to the next level and, like, attack the dog physically, because it feels like that will make it. Well, we had it when one of these bully breed dogs, like, came up to our dog once and was, like, sniffing it, and, like, and it was being aggressive. It had been, like, snarling, and I felt afterwards, I felt bad. I felt sort of ashamed, like I didn't, like, attack the dog. But then I don't think it's because I didn't want to. I think it's because instinctively I felt like, no, I'm escalating the situation here. And I think there's a level of like male insecurity, like where I'm like, oh, should I have like booted this pit bull in the head because it was being aggressive? It's like, not really, actually, no. Like, I think, well, I know if it was actually doing something like killing my dog or me or my loved one or whatever, like I would do whatever I needed to do to the dog. But I think just naturally you don't want to escalate it to that situation if you don't have to. And I see these videos where a dog is literally like killing someone or killing a baby, and people are like slapping it on the bum and stuff. And I would never be one of those people. But still, sometimes you feel like, God, like, what should I do in this situation, you know? So anyway, yeah, the third time it came for us, and again, we start shouting and stomping. And this time, again, I didn't really know. I thought it was like nipping a bit and not really doing anything. But apparently, my girlfriend said it had her whole finger in its mouth, because basically it came for her. And I'm sort of trying to like get in between them, but my girlfriend's going this way, and I'm trying to get in between them, and the dog's kind of circling us. And it came for her again, and it went to go and like jump at her body, because first one went for her leg, then it was like it was going for her body. She thinks it was trying to like take her down. It happened so fast, and so she then tried to put her hand up to like protect herself, and it's really chaotic because we've got the dog coming at us. I'm trying to protect her, I'm trying to like deal with the dog, I'm trying to tell the owner to get the dog, and the owner's over there, and it's just pure chaos. So in that moment, like, neither of us were thinking straight, so she sort of put her hand up to block the dog away, which obviously you don't want to give your hand to a dog, but it's completely understandable why she panicked and did that. And she put her hand up, and she said that at one point the dog had her whole finger in its mouth, and in her, she was like, I'm about to lose a finger. Like, she fully thought she was going to lose a finger, and it bit her really badly, like here, and some like on here, like she's got like a big it's like all swollen here and stuff, and you couldn't see anything at first. To begin with, there were not really any marks, nor on her leg, and at this stage, basically, once it got to the third attack, we were just like fucking like screaming at the owner and screaming at the dog, and it really, you know, creating a really, really big scene at this point. And the owner eventually came over because we were literally screaming at him to get the dog. That's what it took for him to come and get the dog. And the thing is like, when it's your dog, there's really not any risk to you, unless it's a particularly terrible dog. But really, if your dog is attacking someone when it's out with you, usually it's doing it because it thinks it's doing it on behalf of you or the pack, you know? And so if you just go over and grab your own dog's collar, it's not gonna. But imagine if I tried to grab his dog's collar, like, you know, one of us tries to get his dog on a lead when it's attacking us. So when you're the owner, you can just go and get the dog, like, all literally, you just grab it and the situation is over. We have to get into like a literal combat situation with a dog. To stop it, you just have to grab its collar. It's just like the level of the lack of common sense here, and just responsibility is like I'm struggling to contend with it, you know, like I'm genuinely like really incredibly angry. And I try a lot of the time, you know, because people do a lot of stupid stuff. You see a lot of stupid stuff. You see a lot of stupid people, shitty drivers, bad behavior. And I know sometimes, I was talking about this with a friend the other day, like, the expectation of people being better is what makes you angry. And it's my fault in a sense, but why do I expect this man to be responsible? Like, why would he be? Who promised me when I was born that everyone on earth was responsible? No one. So I shouldn't really, but it's hard. It's hard not to, because he benefits from the responsibility of others. He benefits from everyone else behaving in an orderly and reasonable fashion. And then he doesn't do it himself. So it's like, it's so selfish. It's like so selfish and wrong. And I think also, like, it's like your duty as an owner, as an adult, as a man, just like to keep people around you safe. Like, your dog is attacking people. It's your duty. It's like a fundamental duty. And like, she was like, my girlfriend's like screaming, you know, like she's screaming, and he was just watching. And Oh man, it was horrible. So anyway, yeah, it didn't look like it was too bad. But anyway, he finally got the dog. And I'm like, what in fucking God's name are you doing? Like shouting at him, but not wanting to get close. And the dog's trying to escape the collar he's got. He's got all those stupid loose collars, and it's trying to escape. And we're like fucking, screaming at him, like, watch the dog, like it's trying to escape. And it kept trying to get out, and it's still trying to go for us. And we were going mental at him. And my girlfriend really was just in hysterics, like just crying and saying, it bit me, it bit me, it bit me. And I was thinking, like, it didn't really bite you. I did sort of, at the time, that's what I felt. It kind of didn't really bite you. You're okay, like, but I just thought she was just understandably very upset, like, and frightened and in shock, basically. And we're talking to the guy, and he's like, after a bit, he started like performatively hitting the dog. Like minutes later, after the incident had already happened, he started hitting it. And I was like, right, this isn't really any good to anybody whatsoever, is it? You're just making it more violent and aggressive. And yeah, and anyway, so the one day I had these shitty tracksuit bottoms on that have really shallow pockets, so I never bring my phone because if it falls on the beach, I won't hear it. So this one day I was wearing these, I didn't have my phone, I didn't have anything on me, she didn't have her phone. So the one time we didn't have a phone this was happening, and I'm shouting at the guy and I'm telling him to call the police on himself, and he's obviously understandably not doing that. And then there were some people way over there, and I start screaming at them to get a phone, and then my girlfriend's going nuts behind me, like over and over again saying, we need a phone. And I'm like, I fucking know we need a phone. Like, I'm trying to get a phone. And she keeps going, no, you need to get a phone from them. I'm like, I'm trying to get a phone. And I had to tell her, like, please shut the fuck up. Like, because every single thing I was trying to say to someone in a second language, obviously, like, I'm trying to speak to this guy to tell him, no, don't run away. Keep your dog there. Do not fucking go. And then when thinking about, we need to call an ambulance, we need to call a medic or something. We need to call the police. We need to, because it was so chaotic and ridiculous. And then this other bloke comes over, and he was a bit of like a sort of, like a kind of like grubby, unemployed seeming fella, who sort of like got this attitude, and I'm like, can I use your phone? And he's like, no, you can't call the police. Like, and I'm like, no, I've got to call the police. This dog attacked us. And he's like, and I'm like, please let me use your phone to call the police. I need to call the police. And he's been really weird about it. And he was like, wash the wound first. And he goes and gets his bottle of water and like helps to wash the wound and whatever. And didn't want it, because there's a certain attitude some people have. I don't even want to say it's a thing specific to here, although I feel I've noticed it more here, but I haven't lived anywhere else for many years. But like certain types of people where like everything is like, oh, whatever, like it's very flippant, like extremely flippant attitude. And I think a lot of the time, because this was in the daytime on a weekday, we were on a brief break because we work from home, but most of these fellas who are out at this time don't have jobs. The guy who had the dog that attacked us is the kind of fella who they don't have a job, they live at home still with their mum, and they're like sort of children, like they're just like big children basically, and they sort of like all they really do is like smoke cigarettes and drink beer and just kind of like they live like a very babyish lifestyle, where it's just like they don't really ever. A part of it, to be fair, is like there's just not much work here, so a lot of people become like infantilized by it, and they retreat into like they never really grow up, because there's not much responsibility on offer for them, to be fair. But that doesn't mean you can't control your dog. So, poor fucking hell. So we're dealing with this, and then eventually this guy like agrees to like call the police or whatever, but I didn't know he'd called them yet. And then we saw some people we know who have a cafe, and we saw them over there, and we were like, right, let's go and get you to them and clean the wound, because they had a medical kit and everything, so we went to clean the wound. So I sent her over, then I'm having to keep the dog away from her and stand in between her and the dog. I'm having to tell the owner not to go. I'm having to talk to these people and say, can you help her clean the wound and everything? It's like pure chaos. And then it's creating like quite a scene, and she's just screaming and crying. Like my girlfriend, she was just like in absolute hysterics. And still I hadn't quite realised like the severity yet of her injuries. I could see at this point that I was like, oh no, she has definitely been bitten twice. And it wasn't like pouring blood or anything though. So anyway, we got her over to them, and they started cleaning her wound. And I think we asked them to call the police. We didn't have anyone to call the police yet. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. And then the guy is like gradually, he didn't, if he was like an experienced sort of wronger or criminal, he would have left immediately when it happened. He would have gone, oh shit, yeah, sorry, and just walked off. But he didn't. He was gradually like skulking further and further away. And it turns out he lived really nearby. And instead of calling the police, he called someone else and was like complaining about us. In hindsight, I think he called his mum. At the time, I thought, was he calling one of his dodgy mates or something? What's he doing? And he was saying, oh, I've got a situation with some ghillies. Ghillies is like a kind of, it's not really a racist term for Brits / Northern Europeans, for like basically for like Dutch, German, Brits, Scandinavians. It's not really a racist term. It can be a bit like a sort of slightly hateful term. It can just be, it's just what we are, basically. But anyway, the way he was saying it was as though we were being ridiculous and this was our fault in some way. And he was going off and calling, and I was like, no, call the fucking police. Like, call the police. And he kept trying to leave, and then I had to keep trying to stop him from leaving, and he's got the dog still on a really loose lead, and the dog keeps going for me, and I'm trying to like stop him from leaving. And then she's way over there. He's hit. It's hard to describe. Everything was so spread out. It was like all across the beach, And then he's getting closer and closer to the street, and he starts getting towards an alleyway, and I'm having to go, no, and he's going, yeah, I'm waiting over here, and I'm like, fucking wait there, like shouting at him over and over again to wait there, and he's like, yeah, I'm waiting, I'm just standing over here, and I'm like, no, you can fucking wait here, and he's edging towards this alleyway, because it turns out he lives like one street over, so if he gets through that alleyway, he can just kind of like go home, and then other people start coming out of their houses. Luckily, there were people around. People start coming out of their houses onto their balconies and shit, and watching, and a couple of other people shouted at him, no, don't leave. And I was like, everyone's watching you, like, do not leave. If you leave, this is a lot more serious. The police will treat this much more seriously if you leave. It's a crime to run away now, like, stay here. And he was still fixing to leave, I think. And then my girlfriend's like screaming at him from over there, and just like floods of tears and in hysterics. And then the police got there. Luckily, they got there like really quick, because there's absolutely fuck all to do here. It's such a small town, so there's not much going on. So they come over, and they go and like deal with him and talk to him. We do, tell them all the shit that happened, give all our details and everything. And they're like, yeah, you got to go to the medical center, and then come back to us, and then you got to go tell us everything, and then go to another place to file the fucking report. Is like ridiculous. So we went to the medical center, and there's all this bullshit about like, oh, you need this special, you need your fucking health card and everything, and she didn't have it with her. And then they're like, right, tomorrow you have to go again to a different place, to your local one, to this other health center. You have to show them this, then they have to give you a temporary card, and then you have to use this and blah blah. And it's just like the amount of bureaucracy here in Spain is unbelievable. It's absolutely unbelievable how inefficient it is. But anyway, yeah, when the police got there, the dog tried to attack the police as well, which I was quite pleased about, because again, it was like clearly, yeah, it made them take it more seriously. So at this point, I saw she has a really bad injury, and she was really lucky. She was lucky it didn't like deglove her finger or take her whole finger off, and she was lucky it didn't get her hair on this fleshy bit, because that can really fuck you up if you lose this. Terrible, man, like absolutely terrible to think how bad it could have been. What was upsetting for me was I didn't really realize it at the time, and like I don't know, I felt bad. I felt bad I didn't realize it at the time. I felt bad I didn't do more to stop it, yeah. So then we went to the medical center, and she needed a tetanus jab, and then we thought, we're not going to get the rabies one, because that's crazy, because it doesn't have rabies, there is no rabies really, it barely exists, and it's just ridiculous. Like, so we'll wait and see when he gets it tested at the vets, whatever, if it has fucking rabies. But basically the police said he was ordered to go and get the dog tested, and when I was talking to him, when I was telling him to wait there, he was like, you're going to have the dog killed, aren't you? Like, you're going to have the dog killed. And to be totally honest, in the heat of the moment at that time, in my head, I was thinking like, yeah, I am, like, we are, because if it does that to a child, because if my girlfriend had been on her own, I have no idea. Like, I have no idea how far that could have gone. It's so upsetting, man. And there were kids playing on their own on that beach. If two little kids had come over, that dog, could have gotten them in the neck, and a child could have died in a split second, you know, or be permanently disfigured and have to go to school with a scarred face and a missing eye, or a, you know, messed up lip or something, just like some sort of horrible injury that will you carry with you for life. And it could have been for her so much worse. It was jumping up trying to get at her body, so it could have like done some, you know, horrible cosmetic damage to her that would be very upsetting and make her feel very bad about herself for the rest of her life because of this idiot. And we were thinking at the time, yeah, like in the heat of the moment, it was like, well, yeah, the dog has to be put down. Like, it, you know, it just has to be. A dog that is that aggressive for no reason has to be put down. And he was saying, oh, you're gonna have the dog put down, aren't you? And like that was sort of his reason for like leaving, I guess. And I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't know, but you just can't go. You just have to stay there. I don't know what's going to happen, but just wait there. And I was trying to explain to him, like, that can kill another dog, or it can kill a child, or it can kill a baby. And it's your responsibility to control the dog, and you did nothing. And I could see in his face, and he was sort of like, oh, sorry. Like he was a mixture of like kind of defiant and rude, and then kind of saying sorry, and looked a bit shell-shocked by the whole thing. And he's just not used to ever having to take any responsibility for anything in his entire life. Clearly, he's just not used to being an adult. Like, just it's unbelievable. And yeah, so then we went to the medical center, and so many people have been so fucking rude throughout the whole process and so annoying. And she got her shit cleaned up, and the nurse was like, while she's cleaning it, you know, like my girlfriend's Spanish is not as good as mine, but it's getting a lot better lately, and she communicates with everyone. She doesn't speak to anybody in English. She speaks to people in Spanish. She makes the effort, you know. And the nurse was like cleaning her wound, and she was like, my girlfriend was like struggling to speak in English. She was struggling to string sentences together. She was really traumatized. And the nurse was like, oh, you have to learn Spanish if you live here. And it's like, is this the time, really? Like, is now really the fucking time? How about shut the fuck up, you know? It's just so unnecessary and rude. Like, it's unbelievable. And the people at the desk, so fucking rude, man. I don't normally have that kind of experience here. I really like it here. I really like the people here. I find people very friendly and everything. So I'm not really griping about the place in general. I think in some small towns, people can be utter pricks, to be honest. My experience generally is like most people are really nice, but some of the people who are born and live in small towns are like sometimes the same anywhere, to be honest, in most countries. But like those kinds of people sometimes are very nice, and sometimes can be so strangely rude and hostile to anyone they don't know. Anyway, yes, we did all of that shit, went back to the police station, and they were like, oh, you have to go to this other police station tomorrow morning. I'm thinking, right, can't just fucking file the report with you, okay? And we're like, what's going to happen with the dog? And he's like, oh, the guy has to bring it to the vet to get tested. And I will say, by the way, on the subject of the dog being put down, I am very glad, basically that's not an option unless it has free incidents. There's like a free strike rule, which is insane. But anyway, there's a free strike rule. And I love dogs, by the way. I absolutely love dogs. I also understand that like maintaining order in society and keeping children and babies and, you know, other animals safe is paramount as well. And, you know, and so it's insane that that's the rule. But from a selfish point of view, I'm very glad we don't have to make the choice, because I know we would not have gone through with it. We would not have, if it was up to us to decide, will the dog be put down or not, we would not have I don't think we would have been able to bring ourselves to put the dog down. But if we didn't do it, we would have felt very guilty, because we would have thought, what if in a year's time a child dies because of us, someone loses their baby, or someone ends up permanently scarred or disfigured, or if she'd been pregnant, she could have miscarried, you know, from the stress, or it could have attacked her belly. I mean, it's just, it's unbelievable. It's absolutely unbelievable. And we were thinking afterwards, we were like, yeah, it's good that we don't really have to make that decision, because like, who wants to be responsible for a dog being put down? You know, it's horrible. So anyway, yeah, we called up this morning to say, right, what is the station you said we have to go to? And they were like, oh, you can't go today because they're closed now for the holidays until like Tuesday. I was like, fucking, I mean, it is Easter, but like, You're also the police, and the taxes are obscenely high here, and you'd think we might be able to make a police report when we've been attacked by a dog, but okay. So we're waiting on the report from the dog as well, that it doesn't have like rabies or whatever. Apparently the rule is the owner gets a fine. We hope it's a huge fine. Bit annoying we don't get anything. I missed something very important at work that could be very costly and expensive for me. My girlfriend missed work and, you know, had to like cancel a lot of shit, and it's really incredibly inconvenient. And for me, it was a client who might have been a long-term client who is now understandably doesn't know me well enough to necessarily even believe my story about what happened. So I may well have lost a client that could have been like, you know, important and made me a lot of money. So this could have cost us more than it's going to cost the guy who's going to get the fine. We don't get anything. We don't get anything from him. We're treated almost like we've done something wrong throughout a lot of the process, and not helped really with anything. And we still haven't been able to file a report. We have to go on Tuesday. Today's Thursday. We have to go on Tuesday to file a report, and we had planned to have like a bit of a sesh this weekend and do some 5-MAPB and stuff like that, because we haven't done anything like that for ages, and it's not hugely appealing to have to go and do police reports in the morning on a, you know, when we're on sort of like still feeling the sort of hangover effects next week. But anyway, we'll probably just cancel it. And her hand is really bruised and swollen, and the nail is like black basically, and might have to like come off, or they might have to, you know, make a hole in it to let the blood out. And she's really upset, and I'm really upset because I didn't know that was happening to her, and it was happening right under my nose. It's very upsetting to see her so upset, and it's very upsetting because she loves dogs so much, and she's always nice to them. She's always like very friendly to dogs and cares about them a lot. And it was just quite cruel to see that happen to her. And we've been arguing a bit afterwards because it's just, everything's chaotic and stressful. We went today to the medical center to get the reimbursement or whatever, and like, it was just ridiculous. It's hard to describe. I can't be bothered to get into the details of it, but the amount of bureaucracy and paperwork and like nonsense hoops you have to jump through, and it's like, we're fucking residents, we pay taxes, we've got our paperwork. Just why do we need anything else other than that, basically? Like, why do we have to renew this shit every 6 months? Why do we have to go to the town hall just to fucking like buy oxygen? Like, it's just like everything you do, you have to fucking, it's all on paper. You have to go to the town hall, you have to do some antiquated process, you have to book an appointment, they're only open until like 1. It's so disrespectful to people who pay taxes and stuff, to like, just, it's all designed to make as much bureaucracy as possible to keep people in jobs, but the whole point is to like keep this sort of government economy going, basically. It's very obvious that's the point. They make everything as convoluted as possible. They never make it easier. They always make it more difficult to keep the government as bloated as possible, so all these people can stay in their jobs and get their huge pensions, and it's all a big club, and the only people who have any decent work are people who work for the state. You work for the post office, you go home at fucking like, you know, 2:30 p.m. They close the post office is open from 10:30 till 2:30 in most towns. You can't post anything outside of those hours. It's only open Monday to Friday for like a few hours. You can't phone them. You could like, and they get insane pensions. They cannot be fired. They're so slow. They have no interest in doing anything properly. And if you work, you have to take a day off work to post something. Like, I just think that's just disrespectful. Like, I just think when the taxes are so high, people get absolutely destroyed by taxes. You have to take a day off to do that. By the way, if you want a day off work for sickness here, you have to go to a public doctor, and you have to get a note from the doctor that says that you need a day off work for a sick day. So even if you have like a normal contracted job, you can't just say, I'm sick today. Otherwise it counts as just an absence from a job unless you go to the doctor. Even during COVID, they kept this up. It's just unbelievable. It's absolutely unbelievable and ridiculous. And that is one of a million examples I could give of how the system is just so, it's just disrespectful. It's disrespectful to people. But anyway. So yeah, we dealt with all of this. And above all, man, like, it's just these dog owners, like, what goes through their head? What goes through their head? Like, we saw it this morning. It was funny. We went out for a walk and we were like, let's go for a walk in the same place and not be, like, let's just get it out of our system, and hopefully we'll see some other dogs, and we'll, see some friendly dogs, and we'll have some positive interactions again with some, sensible, friendly, safe dogs. And because you can't let that, like, we love dogs, like, she absolutely loves dogs. It can't become a thing. It's better to just say, no, that was a one-off, and we'll obviously be more like, well, we didn't do anything wrong. But what we thought afterwards was, well, we didn't do anything wrong at all with that dog. However, there have been other times where we've, like, really gone over to dogs to try and pet them, and I think the fact is, you should wait for a sign from the dog that it's friendly. If a dog gives you any indication that it's friendly and it seems fine and it shows friendly body language, then cool. Otherwise, probably just ignore it. We don't need to, like, keep going over to dogs and petting them. But again, that is not what we actually did today. We weren't even near this dog. It ran to us from far away, so that wasn't a factor today whatsoever. But it's a useful lesson learned. It's better to learn the lesson this way than to learn it in a more serious way. And if you've got kids, man, I was reading today, there's something like 100,000 dog bites on children per year in Spain, something insane like that, like reported ones, which is mind-boggling. Like, and so you just got to be so careful if you've got kids. It's pretty common for kids to get injured by dogs, to get bitten by them or whatever. So yeah, man, if you've got kids, you've got to be incredibly careful around them. I'm not gonna, when we have kids, like, let them really, like, near dogs that I don't know. It's just not a good idea, really, which is very unfortunate. You don't want them to be scared of dogs or to grow up with a weird thing, but you've just got to be careful. They are animals at the end of the day. But yeah, this guy, man, like, there's a wider issue with dog owners. I mean, this morning after we went out again, we saw this guy. He had a collie, and it was a very well behaved collie, and it was like, he was throwing a ball, and it was getting the ball and coming back to him. And you see these people where they're like, they're serious dog owners, like, and I always like them. I can see, like, this guy, he doesn't want to be bothered. He's with his dog. He's exercising his dog. He's throwing the ball for it, and this is like, he clearly is quite invested in this. And then this woman comes down the beach, and she's on the phone in her hand. She's got this one little dog, and then she's got this other, like, wolf type dog. It looked like a wolf dog, which are, like, notoriously difficult and exuberant. And it starts running over up behind the collie who's playing with its owner. And immediately I was like, ugh. And we were already a bit on edge because of what happened yesterday. And I was thinking, like, don't like the look of this. It's not the right way. Like, he shouldn't be approaching a dog like that, a dog that's playing with its owner, like, from behind. And it ran over, and the woman's just like, blah, 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 like, on the phone, ignoring it. Call your dog over, and if your dog doesn't come when you call it, it should be on a fucking lead. And these people, by the way, they make it worse for everyone, because we felt really bad, because after the incident, the police came yesterday, and there was a guy who had a really friendly golden retriever on the beach, and the police had a massive go at him, because the dog's, like, not meant to be off lead or whatever. And people kept making the incident about, oh, there should be no dogs off lead on the beach. And to me, I don't think that's true. I don't think there should be no dog. I think outside of the busy season, I think there should be no problem with dogs. They said all year round dogs cannot be free on the beach. To me, that's insane. Most of the year, the beach is literally empty. We used to take ours on the beach all the time. That's not the problem, in my opinion. The problem is the dogs that don't behave, and those need to be dealt with, and those people need to be dealt with. But anyway, this woman, her dog comes over and it takes the ball from the collie, and she's in, just like the bloke with us, instead of dealing with it and getting the ball and saying no and putting it on its lead and saying, there you go, there's your ball back, sorry about that. She starts going like, oh, he's not doing anything. He's young. He's only 8 months. He's a male of 8 months old. And you can see the guy is like, yeah. And is like calling his dog and going, get your ball, bring your ball, come on, because the other dog dropped the ball. And I knew exactly what the guy was thinking, was like, shut the fuck up. I'm not interested in your shitty story about your stupid dog that you can't control. Just get the ball from it and fucking give it back to me, please, or put your dog on a lead. And clearly he's like, calling his dog over, trying to get it to bring its ball and getting annoyed. And she keeps being like, oh, no, he won't do anything. He's just playing. It's like, well, if it's 8 months old, how the fuck do you know? You haven't had him long, have you? So how the fuck do you know if he's going to do anything or not? What are we talking about? Just put him on a lead and then he definitely won't do anything. How about that, you dumb bitch? And she's still on the phone the whole time, phone in her hand, like, it's like, no one wants to talk to you. No one is interested in what you're saying. Just put your fucking dog on a lead if it's not in control. Like, if it doesn't come when you call it, it cannot be off lead. I'm sorry, but a dog that doesn't respond to you and doesn't listen to you cannot be off lead. Full stop. It just shouldn't be. I'm going to stop the video for a sec because I think it will start to lag if I leave it too long. Yeah, it's the same shit with these people. They're always like, oh, no, it's fine. He won't bite. He won't. It's like, I don't know you. You're not my family member. You're not my friend. I don't give a shit if you think your dog is okay or not. I don't know your dog. So get it away from me. You know, like, it's just like unbelievable, the attitude that people have. And leaving shit everywhere. And then there was like these people we used to live in who just like, they had like numerous pit bulls that they used to let walk around the neighborhood by themselves. They used to leave their front door open and their front gate open, and these dogs used to walk around this residential area by themselves, like freely, like they were cats. Like, I'm talking bully XLs. Like, one of them was like, you know, a neck the size of a fucking, like, it was just one time we were out with our dog, and a couple of these, I think pit bulls, I can't remember it well, but started coming towards us, and my girlfriend was like, right, get the dog away, because, you know, we really didn't want our dog near it. And then I was like, right, you have to pass her to me I dropped down off this wall. I was like, you have to pass her to me, and then, you know, you jump down or whatever. And she passed me the dog. I don't remember exactly what happened in the situation, but I remember I then got down, I put the dog down, and then a bully XL was there on the other side of the fucking wall that we jumped over. Just free. It was a different owner. These other two dogs were from someone else who's letting them run around. And there's a real passive-aggressive thing with these like pit bull owners, where they kind of want you to have a problem with it because they want an excuse to feel sorry for themselves, and they want an excuse to feel persecuted. They love a lot of them love the victim complex, the persecution complex, and the idea that we're all so ignorant for wanting to like protect our children and our pets and stuff. And like, oh no, my little fufu is so kind and gentle and whatever, and like, you know, you're so ignorant. He's just playing, like, you're being judgmental. They like it's almost like they get like a sort of racial grievance narrative through the dog, like that they get to kind of like participate in, and it gives them some sort of identity or something and some kind of meaning. And it's like, no. Other people just don't want to deal with it. And that's it. Like, just be respectful and stop being a fucking prick. It's like, if you want a dangerous hobby, have a dangerous hobby, but don't make other people deal with it. It's not our hobby. We don't care. We don't want to do it. So anyway, these people just let their dogs just walk around the residential area like loose, like just leave my door open and my gate open and let a pit bull go where it wants. It's like unbelievable. So there's the dog owner thing, and that's male, female, whoever. But then there's another issue with this kind of bloke, like from yesterday, where it's like, what are you then? Like, what are you then? You obviously don't have a job. And I saw, by the way, because I saw when the police were talking to him at his house, because they obviously said, like, put the dog away so we can talk to you. And I went past to go and get our documents, and I saw him with his mum. And his mum was, like, hands on her hips with the police, like it was so ridiculous that she was having to deal with this. And he was in the front garden with her. So he lives with his mum. Presumably doesn't have a job. Like, looks like someone who's just like, you know, like probably smokes weed and like sells 10 bags to his mate. He's like, you know, like mid-30s, late 30s maybe, this bloke. Like, clearly doesn't have kids or anything. And so, what are you, man? Like, what are you? You're just waiting for your mum to die so you can have her house, and so you can just be a big kid until the day that you die. Like, you can't even stop your own dog. Like, I felt bad, like I couldn't stop someone else's dog. He couldn't even stop his own dog. He didn't even try. It's unbelievable. Like, and I feel like a lot of this gender bullshit nowadays has also had the effect of like neutering men in a kind of weird way, where like they don't feel that they have any kind of responsibility for like safety and stuff. And like that is like has always been a fundamental part of being a man, is like understanding safety and like danger and like keeping people around you. So I talked about it in a previous video when there was the incident with the rapper Getz who ran that guy over, because to me it's the antithesis of masculinity, is to put people in your community around you in danger. To put innocent people in danger is the antithesis of masculinity. That's literally the opposite of what a man's supposed to do. And somehow it's presented as masculinity to not give a fuck, to not care about the rules, to not give a shit, to not care about putting other people in danger, putting women and children in danger. That is literally the antithesis of masculinity, and it should be utterly shunned. And it's not. It's almost like, oh yeah, I've got like a cool dog and I don't give a fuck, and I'm smoking and I let the dog run around and I don't wear a seatbelt and I drive past primary schools at like 100 miles an hour and I'm cool because I don't care about the rules. No, you're literally a child. Like, you're like a toddler. You're basically a toddler in an adult's body. It's just, it's so depressing. And you see it so often. Like, I've seen videos of like these dogs attacking like toddlers. You know, a toddler can die in an instant from a dog attack, and you see whereas like a dog's like locked onto it and people are not even doing it. There's one we saw where a guy was being ripped to shreds by two bully XLs that tried to attack his mother. They were ripping him to pieces, and what the two guys that were there were doing to, in quotes, help was just, I mean, I've never seen anything so inept in my life. He was watching himself get ripped to shreds and killed. He died. He bled to death. While these other two men, they were acting like broken Sims characters. I mean, they were just like walking back. One of them had a wheelie bin and he was like walking backwards and forwards. He literally, like, he was broken, like mentally broken. And people would be like, oh, he was shocked, he was panicked. Nah, it's not an excuse. Like, you just do better. You just have to do better. Like, if we start saying that, okay, well then next time something stressful happens, if I see an old woman fall over and break her hip in the street, I can collapse to the floor and start shrieking and crying and not help her. And I can go, yeah, I was panicking. I was scared. I didn't know what to do. I was in shock. No, it's not acceptable. We shouldn't tolerate that. Like, we shouldn't accept it. And so, fine, people will have these like hysterical reactions, but we have to hold them to account for it as well and say, no, you should have done more. You should have pulled yourself together. You should have done more. We all make mistakes. Like, there have been numerous situations where I haven't handled them as well as even yesterday. Like, I feel like if I look at it honestly and I'm like thinking about it intelligently, like, I know there was nothing really else that I within reason could have done. And I did everything that I could really do, but I still have that feeling like I let this happen, you know? And that's important. That's a good thing. I should have that feeling. I should feel insecure about that. I should feel like I needed to do more, because if I don't have that feeling, what the fuck is going to happen next time? I'll just be like, oh, I don't have to do anything. I shouldn't feel bad. I'm just scared. I was in shock. I couldn't do anything. So then what happens? Then the world just goes to shit because people can use their emotions as an excuse for their actions. No. They might be a reason, but they're not an excuse. So there is no excuse. There is no reason, no valid reason for that man. And look, I'm not saying he should get the fucking death penalty. I'm not saying he shouldn't be allowed to exist as a human being anymore. I'm saying he did something very, very wrong by not intervening. And his emotions don't even come into the equation. His actions do. You should be defined by your actions. And cool, if your emotions got in the way, then it's tough shit. You're obviously not a very competent person, and people have a right to be annoyed at that. People have a right to be upset by it. But we've got into this point of like excusing and justifying everything. No, like grown men should try to help. They should try to participate in society. What's a person like that going to do if there's like a war or a terror attack, or like what is he going to do? Like, what is that person going to do? I'm not saying I'm fucking John Wick. I'm not. Like, I try. I at least try. Like, you've got to try. You've got to do something. And I just don't understand what's happened. Like, I can't believe that this would have happened in the past. I just can't believe that a grown man in like civilized society would have watched his pet terrorizing a woman and like not tried even to do anything, and not profusely apologized. And he should give us money, really. I mean, he's cost us a lot of money and time. He's obviously not going to. He's a bum. And probably just has enough money to get a couple of beers and a bag of weed and some cigarettes that day. But and the dog wasn't castrated, by the way. And I was saying to him while I was keeping him there, I was like, why the fuck is your dog not castrated? You can't even train it, you can't even discipline it, you can't control it. Then why is it not castrated? Because if that dog goes to rape a female, what's this bloke gonna do? He's gonna stand there and watch and feel sorry for himself. It's just unbelievable. And we tolerate it too much, quite frankly. I think the shit we focus on is I don't want to get all political or whatever, but we focus on this really dumb, weird shit that means nothing, on offense, oh, this person believes this or says this or does that. And it's how about people's actions? How about the fact there's grown men that behave like that and we tolerate it? We accept the fact, because if he can't take responsibility for that, he can't take responsibility for the more complicated, difficult stuff that goes on around him. When people around him are dealing with serious shit, what's he going to do? He's useless. And we're more offended by people being offensive or saying the wrong things than we are by people being useless. And if you're utterly useless like that, you're a drain on everyone. You are literally a net negative on society. You can't even help when your dog is trying to kill someone. You are literally at least children are cute, at least they have, we would see, oh, well, they'll grow up one day. If you're still like that when you're an adult male, what is the point of you? What is the point of your existence? What are you? You literally, you just think that life is just about you just doing what you want. I mean, it's mind-blowing that we've allowed this. It's absolutely mind-blowing. A man's role in society is so much more than just having a job. And it used to be, and that's being eroded, and slowly it's oh no, we're all kind of the same, and the only role we have in society is basically as a kind of slave, a glorified slave working for some enormous conglomerate, and men and women are the same in that regard. We don't have roles, but we do. There's a lot more to life than the strangers that you're earning money for and lining the pockets of. There's a lot more than that, and there's things we're supposed to provide to the people around us and to our communities that are so much more important than that. And so then when there's people who they don't have a job, they don't have any prospects in their life, it's as though, oh, I'm just nothing, I just don't do anything, I just eat biscuits and wait for my mum to die so I can have her house. It's unbelievable. I don't know this man. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe he's a fucking saint. Maybe he works for the Red Cross. I don't fucking know. But I certainly have known people like that, and it's pathetic and sad, and we should not allow it. And yeah, and shitty dog owners are ruining it for the rest of us. By the way, I hate to think that. First of all, we were both so glad that our dog wasn't there to experience that, because it would have just broken our fucking hearts, and it could have killed her. If it had gone for her neck, it could have killed her, and it doesn't bear thinking about. It truly doesn't bear thinking about. So we were so glad that she wasn't there. But also, it's sad to think dogs like her, like our dog, who was an angel, and the only times she ever did show aggression, we fucking bollocked her, man. She didn't do it again. She got serious bollockings. Because she's our dog, our responsibility, And a bollocking means being shouted at, by the way, in case anyone's not familiar with British slang. It doesn't mean we beat her up. We never did that. And for him to not do anything, to not shout at the dog, and then to wait until minutes after the incident had passed and start squeezing its ears and slapping it on the head performatively, it's not helping anybody. It's just weird and just nasty, abusive behaviour to overcompensate for the fact that he didn't do anything to help. And you just need to tell it off, shout at it and control it. More importantly, march it off in the opposite direction. Shout no at it, put it on its lead and march it in the opposite direction, and it will know you're getting the fuck away from here and you're in trouble and you should not be anywhere near this and you should not be doing this. It's very clear that, it's very easy. We've completely lost that. Dog training is just if it exists, it's this really weird, like kind of woke dog training. I know there's a lot of people who are like, what is woke? Like woke is a real thing. Woke is like it's like forget politics, because there's like people who are people hear the term and they immediately feel it's referring to them and their beliefs, and they get really furious at the term, and they stop thinking like straight, and they think like, oh, this is about me and I'm being attacked or insulted here, and I have to be furious whenever I hear this word, and it's a made up concept. No, it's not. It's the idea that there are beliefs, political or otherwise, in this case not, that where the perceived virtue of the holder of the belief is more important than the consequences of that idea or that belief when it's actually acted out in reality. So, for example, woke dog training would be the new mode of dog training, which is like wildly ineffective and weird. And the entire thing is basically because people don't like the idea of shouting at their dogs or disciplining them. So the whole thing has become like, no, you basically let your dog do whatever it wants. And if it engages in bad behavior, it's because the dog's upset and you have to pet it. And like, I've seen it. I've seen people doing it. I've seen they go to these training classes and they're not allowed to tell you to shout at your dog at these training classes anymore, which is fucking insanity. They're not allowed to tell you to shout at your dog, even though that's how dogs train each other, by the way, in packs. And they sit there like cooing and shushing the dog while it's like snarling and getting ready to attack, and the dog thinks it's in charge, and the dog thinks you're rewarding it. And yes, in some really, really, really roundabout long-term way, some of these methods can work, especially with dogs who are very traumatized and who can't be dealt with in normal ways. But no, for a normal dog who's being aggressive, I don't give a fuck. Like, if you have to shout it, that dog has to stop being aggressive, and it shouldn't be a danger to everybody else. And you need to get over yourself and tell your fucking dog off. It's like, oh, he doesn't mean it. Like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter why he's doing it. None of this matters. Why are we talking about that? You know, it's like, I've seen it with people, you know, for example, like if our dog would be like annoying and like begging for food, like while we're eating, which would never really happen because we tell her off. And if you like, you with a dog, for example, the dog would like beg for food and you go, no. And you point it over there and you go, no, go away. And you shoo it. And people will be like, oh, but he's just hungry. He wants food. And it's like, I'm not making a moral judgment on the dog. I don't care why the dog is doing it. I care that he doesn't do it. It's just, like, you're not supposed to, it's not a human being. And this isn't a ethics and philosophy class. Why are we talking about why the dog is doing it? We're talking about controlling the dog. It's an animal that lives in our homes with us. You know, they live in our homes with us. They live in society. We have to control them. We can't just, it's just so weird. It's like the whole thing now is like, oh, if your dog is aggressive, it's because he's defending himself. You can't be mean to him. It's like, no, you can shout at your dog when it's being aggressive. You do not have to understand. If it helps to understand its motivations, sure, but you don't have to be understanding. You just have to protect other people and other people's pets, their cats, their puppies, their babies, their children, and it's not fucking working. Whatever we're doing, it's not fucking working at all. So like, yeah, no, I think people need to just like discipline their dogs, control them strictly and firmly, and make sure the dog knows who is in charge. That's it, full stop. Like, we don't need to do all of this weird shit. And people who have dogs need to know, if they cannot control their dog, no one can. So who did that man think was going to deal with it? He thought we were going to deal with it. He expected us to fight his dog because he couldn't control it. Had he done reactivity training courses, which perhaps he has, and it's probably what he's going to be, by the way, legally mandated to do, is like, where it's like, when your dog is aggressive, you have to stand still and pet the dog and reward it for not doing anything. Yeah, it was a bit late for that yesterday. So actually, the minute it does something like that, you have to make it very clear as the leader of the pack, no, you do not fucking do this. I don't give a shit what anyone says. That is how you train a dog. Yes, you can, of course, positively reinforce it. That's exactly what we did with ours. A couple of times she was aggressive with other dogs. We went mental. We made it clear, you do not fucking do that. Because she was like, you know, for no reason, aggressive with other dogs. She stopped doing it completely. And then whenever she was well behaved, she had a good interaction with the dog, we told her, well done, we petted her, we rubbed her head and everything else. It's carrot and stick. You do both. This new way of training dogs is utter bollocks. And it's making it socially unacceptable to tell your dog off in public, or, yeah, to shout at it. Like, people look at you like you're a freak if you shout at your dog. And like our dog, she couldn't have loved us more, man. She couldn't have had a better life. Like we could not have been closer with her. And we were a pack. We were a family. We were best friends. She loved, and they like the discipline. They like having a role. They like knowing rules. It's what they're built for. I've seen dogs do it to each other. They shout at each other when they do something wrong. They can't communicate. You don't need to do that with a child. I don't believe in shouting at children, because you can communicate with children and you can explain consequences to them. You can't do that to dogs. So you have to just be very blunt and clear in your communication. Make everything abundantly clear with your body language and your tone of voice. And that is not being taught to people. They're not understanding. And hundreds of thousands of children are being bitten by dogs every year. In America, something like 25 people are killed by dogs. Most of them are children every year. Way more are disfigured. And if you look at the number of dogs that are killed by other dogs, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. People's cats, people's beloved cats, people's dogs, people's babies, people's pets, disfigured, killed, maimed, traumatized, because we do not understand how to control and discipline our dogs. No, you don't need to beat them, but no, you don't sit there shushing them and cooing at them while they're trying to kill someone. It's fucking ridiculous. I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of these people. I'm sick of these useless people and these useless ideas, and just the lack of any kind of, it's like we just like keep walking through, this situation, like, and no one is sort of stopping to go, hang on a minute, what's going on with these dog owners? Like, what is going on? Because this could be like a utopia with dogs. At least the dog part is like, in terms of dogs, it's like the one thing about like human society that's fucking amazing all the time, basically, apart from when shit like this happens. They're amazing. I love them. Like, they're so good. To have them around, to be able to have them as our friends and part of our life, and for losers like that who have fuck all else going on, to be able to have a dog is brilliant. It forces him to get out every day just to feed something and walk it, and it gives him some companionship. That's such an amazing thing. So why are we not treating it with respect and with a sense of responsibility? And more importantly, why is it socially acceptable for a man to be like that? It's unbelievable. And that man would have more grief if he went online and said something a bit tasteless or offensive. He could be like harassed. He doesn't have a job probably, but if he did, he could lose his job. He wouldn't lose a job over this. He wouldn't lose his job over letting his dog attack us and not doing anything. A man wouldn't lose their job over that. A man would lose their job for having the wrong opinion about something, for saying something people felt was tasteless, for making a crude joke. He could lose his job. Couldn't lose his job for that. For potentially causing a miscarriage, for potentially letting a child die, which really he would have killed the child, for letting someone else's beloved pet be ripped to shreds in front of them and leave them literally scarred mentally for life. He couldn't lose his job for that. Won't be shunned from society for that, but make the wrong kind of remark or comment or believe the wrong things, and like, you're out. The value system is just beyond belief. Anyway, she's all right now. I was this was going to be a Bruges. This has obviously not been a Bruges travel vlog. I was going to do a Bruges travel vlog, and I was like, yeah, let me do that. And I thought I'll quickly mention the dog incident at the beginning, and then I was like, nah, I'm not going to be able to mention this quickly. So anyway, sorry. I appreciate this is probably not very interesting to many people, and I'm just ranting and just blowing off steam, really, getting off my chest because it drives me fucking nuts. Yeah. Please check out my book, guys, if you haven't already. I wrote it. It took me a long time, and not that matters. It's completely irrelevant to you, the reader. But what I mean is, I put a lot of care into it, and I think it's really good. And I think it's genuinely like a really helpful thing. And you might look at me like ranting and furious in this video and think like, why would I take advice from him? That's not the point. Like, don't worry about who I am or if I have some sort of. Just judge the ideas for themselves. It's not supposed to be an entertaining book. Like, it's supposed to be something that provides like insights and ways and ideas that can actually kind of change how you look at otherwise very negative events. And like, these ideas have helped me so much. I would be in a pit of negativity otherwise. And it's really just designed to improve people's lives. Like, it's not one of these self-help books where people like talk about themselves for like 400 pages and all this other like superfluous bullshit, or they repeat the same idea 900 times. It's like supposed to be very efficient and to the point. And I'm not sure anyone's like checked it out. And that's cool. I understand. I'm not entitled to anyone checking it out. No one's obligated to check it out. But if you have ever, put it this way, if you have ever enjoyed or appreciated non-fiction books or self-help content or stoicism or mindfulness, I genuinely believe you'll find like a lot of stuff in this book that's really useful, and I think you should check it out. If you're just not interested in that kind of stuff, then obviously, yeah, like, you know, it's your fucking life, your free time, then don't bother. But yeah, it's really good in my opinion, and I don't really know how to fucking promote anything. I have the same problem with music. I make music and I just don't really know how to make anyone listen to it or get it out to a wider audience. And yeah, so I think that's the name of the game really these days, because there's a lot of rubbish books and rubbish music that do really well because the people behind them are really good at promotion and marketing. So I don't fucking know, but yeah, if you've ever enjoyed my channel and you enjoy content like that, then please check it out. I'd really appreciate it. And if you've enjoyed my content, I've never asked for money. I've never put ads on my videos. I haven't monetized my channel. I've never asked for donations. I've never done a Patreon. I've never done anything like that. All of this content is completely free. So it would be cool if anyone who is that way inclined checked out the book, and I can't ask anyone to review it. I'm not asking anyone to review it. But I would certainly it'd be cool if anyone who does like that stuff checked it out. All right, guys, that's all. Hope you're all doing well. I am going to do a Bruges travel vlog soon when I've like simmered down a bit. It'd be a bit weird to do an angry travel vlog. I'll be like, this is the Belfry where we were. These are the waffles we ate. Sorry, guys, I can't think about the waffles. I'm just trying to comprehend what's happened to modern men and woke dog training. No, yeah, it wouldn't be a good context for a travel vlog, so I'll do that another day. And yeah, that's all. Thanks for watching, guys.